Hello, Pastor. Let me first start by saying thank you for your dedicated service to the kingdom of God. It's not an easy job you do, and I appreciate you doing it. My name is Mike Arnold, and it's been my pleasure over the last 2 decades to work with pastors all over America and around the world. And I'm talking pastors from a range of denominations and backgrounds and all different church sizes as well. And in doing this work with pastors all over, I've really noticed 2 things that are just about universal. Now, there may be exceptions, but I haven't seen too many. And the first thing is this: all of them, without fail, went into ministry with the very best purpose and motivation and intentions, answering the call of God. And they entered with the greatest ambitions and dreams and visions of impact, of really changing lives. They seeking to use their giftedness to serve God and to add value to the lives of others. And they have an enthusiasm and an energy about them when they answer that call, and it's exciting. Now, the second thing I've learned is this, and it's just as universal as the first, I hate to say, and that's this. It's not long after pastors or other full-time vocational ministers enter their ministry field that they hit what I call the wall. Now, what do I mean by that? It's these unspoken expectations, traditions, rules, regulations, politics, personalities that hem them in and keep them from fulfilling those ambitions and visions and passions that drove them into ministry in the first place. This wall is like a brick wall. Try as you might, you just can't break through it. And if you're like all the other pastors I've worked with, you might be relating to this to some extent. What I've found is that 2 options happen when a pastor or other full-time minister hits that wall. And that's this. Option 1 is to sell out. And option 2 is to burn out. Now, let me tell you, I think, I'm not being judgmental here, really. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm actually here to offer you hope. But let me explain what I mean by these 2 options so you can see, and maybe you can look at where you might be on this spectrum, okay? The first option, to sell out. What do I mean by that? Well, by the time you get into ministry, and if you went through a seminary or whatever the path was that got you there, you're usually pretty highly invested in it. And with most churches at that point, you have a paycheck, you have a pulpit, a platform, you have prestige, all these things that have been invested in you to fulfill that position, to carry out the job description of a pastor. And the problem is, if you push too far and really unleash your full potential as a minister, if you really do those things that God called you to do in the first place and share those messages and take those initiatives, you can lose your job. They certainly threaten you with that, don't they? They dangle it over your head. The committees, the boards, the various other powers that be in our organizations just stop us from doing that. And so the option to sell out is, you know what? I'm going to put those ambitions, I'm going to put that passion, I'm going to put that energy on the shelf. I'm going to temper it. Maybe it was youthful ambition we start to rationalize, but I'm just going to go along to get along and keep my paycheck, keep my job. And someone told me the other day, and I looked it up and confirmed it. The fact is, they say 86% of pastors today would take another job today if they could get equal pay and benefits. And that breaks my heart. It shouldn't be that way. 86% right there admitting they've chosen the sellout option. The other option, when you hit the wall, is to burn out. And if you're like me, you probably know a long string of former pastors, former ministers, that have just given up. They left. Maybe they didn't find a better paying job, but they just couldn't take it anymore. They couldn't live up against the wall. They couldn't temper their ambitions in ministry, so they just folded up shop and walked away, and they sell insurance or sell real estate or do multi-level marketing or any other number of things, putting food on the table, but it's not what God called them to do. My friend, do you relate to this? Have you felt the wall? Do you know what I'm talking about? As I said, I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here to give you hope. And my friend, there is hope. There is hope. And I believe that your breakthrough is here at hand. I have been blessed to work with pastors, as I said, all over the world, and help them break through the wall. Acts 2:17, I believe it is, it says that in the last days that the young men will see visions, the old men will dream dreams. Let me ask you, whether you're young or old, just for a moment to daydream just a little bit. What would it look like if you could get that passion back, that vision back, that enthusiasm, that energy, that divine stirring in your soul to go out and really shake the world and really change things, really make an impact? What if you could get that back and keep your position and the influence and the pulpit and the resources that God has now put at your disposal? You're older now, you're wiser now, you're more seasoned now. Man, if we could just get that mojo back, what would happen? Can you even go there? Can you even daydream? I hope you can. Because I told you, that wall is not from God, and the box that we've been put in is not from God. And we can break out. It is my passion and my calling to help you do that. And to help with that, God has given me a book. I wrote this book, Uprising, Time for Christians to Rise and Shine. I have seen this book impact pastors all over that have read it. And on the website, if you click, you'll find a testimonials link with numerous testimonials from pastors from all walks of life, all denominational backgrounds, that have been deeply impacted, inspired, revitalized by this book that God gave me. Now, let me tell you also, I come from a diversity of backgrounds. This is not denominational, it's not non-denominational, it's just biblical. It's almost 300 pages long, and it's got over 400 footnotes. So if you're like me and you're the skeptical type, I'm not asking you to go on some fantasy journey with me. I'm simply trying to get you back into the Bible, to see it maybe from a fresh perspective, and to equip you with God's kingdom vision and strategies that can't help but change your life. And Pastor, I'm not here to sell you this book. It is my passion to serve you. And this site is just for pastors, and I mean it, because I want to give it to you. Now, let me tell you, I don't give this book away as a rule. I actually am a writer, and I get income from my books. This book, the printed version, is $20. But like I said, it's my passion to serve you. I believe your best days are yet to come. I believe you can break through that wall, and I'm captivated by what that can mean, by what it'll mean to you, to your congregation, to your family, and to the world, if you and other pastors can break down that wall. And that's why I want to send this to you. If you'll go, please, to the bottom of the website, there's a space for you to fill out just your name, your email address, and confirm that you're a pastor. And what I'm able to send you for free is the ebook version, okay? And this is not just some cheap little ebook that people give away for free. This is the exact same version that I sell on iBooks and the Nook store on Barnes & Noble for $10. Okay? And I'm giving it to you for confirming that you're a pastor. And all I ask from you is that you read it and that you let the Spirit of God speak to you through it. And dig into it. Don't take my word for it. But dig into it and see if it doesn't help you rise up and kick down that wall like it has for so many other pastors. There's one other thing, again, no strings attached, but what I've found is this. The vast majority of pastors that I've given this book to in the past, they turn around, they buy a dozen copies or more to give away. And if you do have that compulsion to do it, and I hope you do, because the next step after you want to kick down the wall is to help take this to your leadership team and then your congregation. I've created a tool for that, and it's the Uprising Group Study Edition. That Group Study Edition is the full book with group dialogue questions stuck in at the right points. And there's a whole collection of videos and leader's guide and other resources to help you take that next step with your congregation. Again, no strings attached, no real expectation, but I want to make that available to you so that if you're impacted by this book, like I know you will be, that you're able then to go and spread that impact and help your whole congregation tear down that wall and make an impact in the world that you only used to dream of. Pastor, the very top, the tagline of this book says this: God has so much more in store for us when we rediscover His master plan and our place in it. And I know that to be true for you too. God has so much more in store for you. I would be privileged if you let me help you experience that and bring it out. Because Pastor, I know your best days are yet to come.